My ex refused a paternity test for 14 years, but went hysterical when the court finally ordered one. For 14 years, my ex Natalie has claimed her daughter Emma is mine. Problem is, I was deployed overseas for 2 months when she got pregnant. I'm not great at math, but even I could figure out those numbers didn't add up. When she first told me she was pregnant, she said 5 weeks along. I'd been back for 3 days. I looked at her and said, Natalie, I've been gone for 8 weeks. Try again. She insisted the baby was mine, refused to even consider she might be wrong. So I made her an offer. 2 parts, non-negotiable. 1, take a paternity test. 2, if the test proves she's mine, we set up custody and child support through lawyers. Clean, legal, fair. She called both insulting and told everyone we knew I was a deadbeat who knocked her up and abandoned her. I tried explaining to our mutual friends I was literally overseas when this kid was conceived. A few believed me. Most didn't want to get involved. One guy kept pushing me to do the right thing and house her until the baby came. I told him my lawyer said any support I give could be legally interpreted as accepting responsibility. He said that was ridiculous. Charity couldn't be weaponized like that. I looked at him and said, if you believe that, you house her. He dropped it immediately. Emma was born 7 months later. Natalie sent me pictures with captions like, Emma wants to know where daddy is, and guess who said her first word today? I didn't respond. Same offer as before. Test first, then we talk. She kept showing up at my apartment with the baby, just standing outside my door, knocking, holding Emma up to the peephole. After 6 months of this, I filed for a restraining order. Here's the fun part. In my state, a permanent restraining order lasts exactly 2 years. The only way to extend it is if there's an associated violent crime. Harassing someone with a baby that's not theirs doesn't count as violent. So for the last 14 years, my life has been a cycle. Every 2 years, the order expires. Every 2 years, Natalie shows up again. Every 2 years, I make the same offer. DNA test and custody and support. Every 2 years, she refuses and calls it insulting. Every 2 years, I file a new restraining order. I got married 5 years ago. My wife Kim knew about Natalie and Emma before we even got engaged. We have a 9-year-old son, Henry. He's heard the name Emma before, but we've kept him sheltered from the actual chaos until last month. Henry's school had a family science night. Kim was homesick, so it was just me and Henry. We're looking at his volcano project when I hear this voice behind me. Hi, I'm your big sister Emma. I turned around and there she was, 13 years old. Natalie nowhere in sight. She was talking directly to Henry, who looked confused and scared. He knows stranger danger. Ran straight to his teacher, Mrs. Patterson. Mrs. Patterson came over to me asking what was going on. I had to stand there in front of 12 other parents and explain that Emma is not my daughter, that her mother has been claiming this for 14 years without proof, that I've had restraining orders, that this child has been coached to believe I'm her father. The other parents went quiet. A few gave me sympathetic looks. Most just looked uncomfortable. The event ended early. After everyone left, one of the moms, Sarah, I think, pulled me aside. She said, look, Natalie is clearly wrong for putting Emma through this, but calling her not my daughter in front of everyone, that felt cruel to that poor kid. I just stared at her. I said, I've been offering the same DNA test for 14 years. I can't help this child if her mother won't let me prove she's not mine. What am I supposed to do? Sarah didn't have an answer. Nobody ever does. I called my lawyer the next day. We filed for a new restraining order and reported the school incident. Apparently the school also reported it to CPS on their own. The preliminary hearing was last week. I walked into the courthouse expecting the usual routine, but this time was different. Emma was there. Natalie was there, but Emma wasn't sitting with Natalie. She was sitting with an older woman I didn't recognize and a woman in a business suit. My lawyer leaned over and whispered, that's her great-grandmother, and that's a court-appointed guardian ad litem. CPS must have removed Emma from the home. The hearing started. The judge went through the history. All 7 previous restraining orders, all dated exactly 2 years apart. The school incident, the CPS investigation. Then my lawyer stood up. He looked directly at Emma's guardian and said, Your Honor, my client is willing to submit to a DNA test right now. Let's put this to bed after 14 years. I watched Natalie's face. It went from pale to white in 2 seconds. Her hands started shaking. She opened her mouth to say something, but her lawyer grabbed her arm and whispered loudly enough for me to hear, do not say a word. Emma's guardian looked at the judge and said, we accept. Let's get this resolved. They brought out the cheek swab kits right there in the courtroom. The bailiff swabbed me first, then Emma. The whole time, Natalie sat there gripping the table, looking like she was going to be sick. After 14 years of calling this test insulting, she finally had to sit there and watch it happen. No more excuses, no more delays, no more 2-year cycles. The judge issued a temporary restraining order covering me, Kim, Henry, and both our extended families. Natalie is oddly good at following court orders. She's never violated a single one in 14 years. We have a second hearing in 4 weeks for the permanent order. The DNA results should be back by then. My lawyer walked out with me. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, this might actually be over. I'm not celebrating yet, but for the first time in 14 years, I can see an end to this nightmare.